After becoming a woman, my best friend became my fiancé. My name is Andre Miller. My friends call me Corn. Why corn? Because my last name is Miller, and corn is a kind of grain. Stop asking. This nickname was given to me by that jerk of a friend, and I'd love to change it, but I can't. I have a best friend I grew up with. His real name is Crab Sherman, yes, crab as in the crustacean. I call him Big Crab. Big Crab is about 5 feet 10 inches, 178 centimeters, weighs around 180 pounds, 82 kilograms, and looks about an 8.5 out of 10. In college, his track record with women is undefeated. And me? I'm 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters, average looking, and still holding onto my pure record of chastity. It's not that I don't want to break it. It's that no one wants to break it with me. That evening, Big Crab had just hooked up with the department beauty from the public security major, and 3 burly guys over 6 feet, 180 centimeters, cornered him at the stairwell of the teaching building. I was going to sneak away. Really, I swear I was going to. But over a decade of brotherhood made me kick one of them at the critical moment. And then, a white ball of light the size of a basketball appeared. Next thing I knew, Big Crab and I had been taken to the divine realm. Honestly, my first reaction wasn't wow, the divine realm, it was. I haven't even gotten a girlfriend yet and I'm dead. Later it turned out I wasn't dead. But in a way, it was worse than death. The scenery in the divine realm was indeed stunning. Above was a sky so blue it didn't look real. Beneath my feet were clouds. In the distance stood a grand hall in the style of ancient Greece. If this wasn't heaven, then I'd been dropped onto the set of Saint Seiya. Chosen ones of God, a deep male voice announced. The speaker was Michael, a seraph with 6 pairs of emerald green wings. I recognized him because I'd read too many web novels. 6 pairs of wings meant seraph class, and fiery red hair with emerald wings could only be Michael. Objection. I raised my hand. What? Michael stopped his speech in surprise. I request a female angel as the guide. Thump. Big Crab punched me on the head. Praise the Almighty. He dropped to one knee, hands clasped in prayer. I am your lamb, ready to hear your teachings. Since when did he get so devout? I always thought his idol was Shaman Ching. Michael led us into the hall. After winding through countless corridors, we reached a place like an emperor's court. A red carpet stretched across the floor, ending at a high stone throne upon which floated a dazzling ball of white light. That was the Creator God. Honestly, apart from the carpet and the throne, there was no decoration at all. The divine realm's taste in decor was apparently on the same level as a broke loser's. You two both possess the potential to become holy sons of light. But only one will be sent to the so-called other world. The Creator God's voice was neither male nor female. My first thought was, eunuch. Then the interview began. First question, if you were to fight against the darkness, what would you need? Big Crab answered first, I need light. The ball of light floated contentedly, and the hall full of angels applauded. I answered, first, personal power. Second, strong support, funding, allies, things like that. Third, luck. The light ball didn't react. No applause either. Second question, if your lover and the world were both in danger at the same time, which would you choose to save? I answered first this time, my lover. I was sincere. If you can't protect the one you love, what's the point of saving the world? An angel turned to look at me, a beautiful female angel. Ocean blue eyes, golden hair, around 16 or 17. My heart raced. My mind had only one thought, if possible, I have to marry her. Unfortunately, she quickly turned away. The light ball didn't react. No applause. Big Crab answered, the world. The light ball floated again. The applause returned. Third question, briefly explain good and evil. Big Crab answered, the side of light is justice. The side of darkness is evil. The light ball floated. Applause. When it was my turn, the little abacus in my head was clicking away. I'd lost the first 2 rounds. Even if I aced this one, it'd be 2-1. So I needed a surprise attack. I stood up abruptly and said loudly, don't ask me about something that doesn't exist. There has never been justice or evil. If I must answer, the only way to put it is, the victor is justice, the defeated is evil. The powerful and high-ranking are justice, the lowly and poor are evil. Those who benefit me are justice, those who harm me are evil. Justice can become evil, and evil can become justice, they are fundamentally inseparable. The entire hall was silent for 3 full seconds. Then Michael jumped up, that's Lucifer's demonic thinking. Angels throughout the hall began to denounce me. Someone even shouted, throw him into hell. I failed the interview. Gabriel, that beautiful angel, led me away. Before I left, I patted Big Crab on the shoulder. Make sure you marry dozens of sisters-in-law, okay? Don't worry. I've got it covered. Of course, it'd be great if you could bring back 17 or 18 for me too. That was my farewell to Big Crab. From then on, he was the orthodox holy son of light. And me, I was the substitute. Gabriel took me to a small room with only a bed. A bed, if you add a verb in front of it. Little pervert. She tapped me on the head. I remembered then that Gabriel was the angel of Annunciation. Her special ability was reading minds. She told me Big Crab had already been sent to the other world. And I, as the substitute, could go too, but only as an assistant. I can grant you one wish. The little abacus in my head clicked away. Forget the math, just say yes first. I want her to stay with me forever. I raised my right hand and pointed at the angel who had glanced back at me in the hall, Serial. I learned this trick from Oh My Goddess. In a long companionship, feelings would surely develop. If she were in danger, I'd save her. If I couldn't, I'd ask the divine realm for help, which would make the entire divine realm my in-laws. Okay. Gabriel agreed without hesitation. That made me nervous. Why was she agreeing so readily? Then the transmigration began. Your current body isn't suitable for sending to the other world. I'll give you a new one. And Serial will stay with you forever, he tilde. Then make the new body tall, handsome, and elegant. He, absolutely attractive to the opposite sex. As white light blazed around me, I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was lying in a pile of yellow sand. All around was an endless desert. Not a soul in sight. Forest. Grassland. Lakeside. Pretty girl bathing. Every benefit a transmigration protagonist was supposed to get, I had none. Worse still, I felt my body. A little girl's body. About 11 or 12 years old, roughly 4 feet 3 inches, 130 centimeters, blonde hair. I lifted my robe and looked. Nothing there. Not the kind of nothing that means nothing. I mean literally nothing. My little brother was gone, replaced by a slit. Oh my God. I'd become a substitute holy maiden. Sorry, all you beautiful girls of the other world, your future husband can't bring you happiness anymore. I took a deep breath and told myself to stay calm. I used my detection ability to check my body, physical ability, 6, magic, 23. My magic wasn't low, but I had no idea how to use it. The knowledge Gabriel had input was all language and common sense, no combat skills. The desert sun rose. The heat hit my face like a blade. I dug a hole in the sand and buried myself. Basic survival knowledge: sand is a poor conductor of heat. And the temperature, just a few centimeters below the surface, is much lower. But that knowledge wasn't going to save me. Because I had no water. My lips were cracked. My throat felt like it had been sanded raw. My head was spinning. Just as I was about to pass out from dehydration, a band of desert beastmen found me. "Shaman, it's a little girl." "Lucky. Now we get a taste of tender meat." "Wait, tender meat?" They wanted to eat me. Worse, they threw me into a big iron pot and prepared to boil me. Hot water rose past my ankles, my knees, my thighs. I did not come here to be a boiled loli. "Where's your chief? I want to see him." I shouted in perfect beastman language. All the beastmen froze. The hot water in the pot kept rising. I spotted the most imposing beastman, Brown Manet, a scar on his left cheek, a necklace of beast teeth hanging from his waist. My detection ability told me his name was Leo, the chief of this tribe. "Daddy." I threw myself at him, clinging tightly to his leg. "I'm your biological daughter." Complete silence. Leo looked down at me. His expression shifted from savage to confused. "What did you say?" I burst into tears, real ones this time, because the hot water really hurt. 12 years ago, at the convent on the edge of the desert, didn't you, with a nun? I sobbed as I spoke, using my detection ability to rifle through Leo's memories. Sure enough. 12 years ago, during a stormy night, a nun had saved his life. What happened after that was fuzzy in his memory, but it was enough for me to spin a story. After she had me, her health was never good. Last year, she passed away. Before she died, she told me my father was the chief of the Desert Beastman tribe, named Leo. My voice trembled. It wasn't all acting. I thought of my real father, that middle-aged man always away on business trips in my original world, whom I barely saw a few times a year. How long had it been since I'd called him child? Leo's rough hand touched my hair. Mom named me Elena. I looked up, tears streaming down my cheeks. She said it means light. Leo was silent for a long time. Then he lifted me high and shouted in a voice that shook the earth. "The daughter of the fierce tribe. Elena Fierce." Hundreds of beastmen roared in unison. In that moment, I couldn't tell if this was a con, or if I actually, kind of wanted to accept this dad. During my time with the beastmen, I noticed something strange. Whenever I sang, the whole tribe would fall silent. Only Daddy is good in the world. A child with Daddy is like a treasure. When I sang that song, countless little orbs of light drifted out of my body, spinning and dancing in the air. The beastmen closed their eyes, their faces full of bliss. "Angel song," the shaman Sam exclaimed. "Only a soul blessed by the gods can produce such a voice." Another elder beastman knelt. Inside, I was thrilled. Maybe becoming a loli wasn't all bad. But this gift also brought me trouble. The female beastmen noticed I kicked off my blankets at night. No, they weren't there to tuck me back in. They saw me as a loli-shaped body pillow. Every night, 3 or 4 women 3 times my weight would fight over me. "Elena's sleeping with me tonight." "No, it was you last night, my turn tonight." "Don't argue, 1 night each." "Help." I swore I had to leave this tribe. Not because they were mean, but because their snoring was really that loud. While cleaning Leo's room, I found a small cloth bundle. Inside were 2 books. One was Playboy. Turns out this other world had such magazines too. The other was The Devil's Flute. Wait, wasn't that the Kindacha Kosup detective novel? I had an idea. "Dad, this book says I need to leave here and go on an adventure to the human lands." I handed the book to Leo. He flipped through a few pages, frowning. Sam came over to look. His face suddenly changed. This is a prophecy book. What? The Devil's Flute. This is a prophecy that's been passed down among our beastmen for 300 years. It's said that when this book appears, the one chosen must embark on a journey to save the world. I thought to myself, I found this book under your bed, mister. But what I said was, really? Then I have to go. Leo was silent for a long time. Finally, he patted my head. The daughter of the fierce tribe does not back down. 3 days later, with over 100 silver coins, a map, and the blessings of the beastmen, I left the desert tribe. The daughter of the fierce tribe. Elena Fierce. The deafening cheers echoed behind me. My tears finally fell. Whatever they called this other world, this was my world. I was the daughter of the fierce tribe. After exiting the desert, I came to a forest. Just as I was pulling out my map to study the route, a short, pudgy figure jumped out from behind a tree. Gentlemen, need a charm. Only 1 silver coin each, secrets of the beast tribe, passed down through generations. I looked up. A pig-headed humanoid wearing a wrinkled merchant's robe, smiling like a cat that's caught a fish. My detection ability told me, pig got fet, a low-level slaver from the Slavers' Union. I'm not a gentleman, I said flatly. Oh, little miss, would you like a charm? No. Then would you like? No. Then would you? Ask one more time, and I'll scream harassment. Fat Piggy's face twitched. Then he showed his true colors. Little girl, do you think this is just anywhere? This is Slaver Union territory. You're walking alone. Come quietly, and you'll suffer less. He reached out his hand. I took a deep breath, ready to use the Holy Maiden Combat Sutra. Even though I only knew the first form, it should be enough to scare off a low-level slaver. Just then, the sound of hooves filled the air. Through the dust, a troop of knights appeared on the forest path. The leader wore pale golden armor. Her silver hair shimmered in the sunlight. I used my detection ability, Asher Joyce, physical ability, 39, magic, 19. My savior is here. Sister Asher. Save me. I ran out and wrapped my arms around her horse's leg. Fat Piggy's face turned blacker than a soot-covered pot. How do you know her name? I didn't answer. I just looked up at Asher with the most innocent eyes I could muster. Sister, that bad man is trying to kidnap me. Asher looked down at me. In that moment, I saw a very complex emotion in her eyes, not sympathy, not pity, but something I couldn't quite read. Only later did I learn its name, Destined Encounter. Fat Piggy was accused of using forbidden mind control magic, and fled in disgrace. Little girl, what's your name? Asher pulled me up onto her horse. Elena. Elena, she repeated my name, her lips curling slightly. That's a good name. At that moment, I didn't yet know that this silver-haired knight would become one of the first wives to claim a place in my life, even though she still saw me as a little sister. Asher was the second daughter of a duke in the kingdom of Rhea. She brought me back to the ducal mansion, where I learned she had an older sister, Alice. Alice and Asher were completely different. Asher was a stern, quiet knight with sharp eyes. Alice was a gentle red-haired beauty, with a smile like spring breeze. From today on, you'll be my and Asher's personal maid, Alice said cheerfully. Huh? Personal maid? If you refuse, you won't get to share the bath with us. She pointed to a steaming bath behind her. I nodded eagerly. I'd be a maid if that's what it took. It wasn't like I'd ever been one in my original world, but for a bath with beautiful women, I could learn. During my days in the ducal mansion, I noticed something odd. In the garden, beside the pond, stood a statue. Alice said it was a statue of Gabriel, the goddess of life. Many people could see golden light around it, but I couldn't. I walked up to the statue and touched the cold stone. Then I used my detection ability. Soul-devouring dark demon sword, physical ability, magic. A deep voice rumbled in my mind. Who dares disturb my slumber? Who are you? I shot back. Insignificant human, do you know the consequences of disturbing my sleep? I am an ancient demonic artifact. The soul-devouring sword. I have slain 3 seraphim. Shut up. Drop the act. The demon sword fell silent. It had probably never encountered a human who ignored the script like this. Through a mix of threats and persuasion, the sword told me it needed blood to be unsealed. I hesitated for half a second, then cut my finger and let my blood drip onto the statue. Golden light burst forth. Black mist surged. Ha ha ha. Foolish human. Even if you have the physique of a divine being, even if you are clever for your age, how can you compare to me, the supreme demonic artifact? The sword tried to devour my soul. But it failed. How is this possible? Why? Because deep within my soul was something it dared not touch. I didn't know what it was. But in that moment, I felt something awake inside me, ancient, dark, powerful enough to make even a demonic artifact tremble. The soul-devouring sword was devoured instead. An ink-black ring latched onto my little finger. The sword had become part of me. Alice watched, her face pale. Elena, what are you, really? I smiled. I don't know. But I will find out. A few days later, Alice brought news. The Holy Son of Light has descended. The Pope orders all city lords to come pay homage. The Holy Son of Light. That had to be Big Crab. Elena, you stay home. No. I have to go. Why? My thoughts raced. If I said, he's my brother, they'd ask for proof. If I said, I'm the substitute holy maiden, that was even worse. That identity didn't officially exist by the divine realm's account. So I used my ultimate move. I'm the Holy Son's fiancé. Complete silence. Don't you dare steal him from me. I added, tears welling up. Alice opened her mouth, but couldn't speak for a long moment. Asha narrowed her eyes, as if judging whether I was telling the truth. Fiancé, she asked slowly. Do you have any proof? You'll see when we meet. I puffed out my chest. He'll recognize me for sure. Silently, I prayed, Big Crab, don't you dare expose me. And so, under the identity of fiancé, I set off for the holy capital with Alice and Asha. On the way, Alice whispered to me, Elena, do you really like this Holy Son of Light? I thought for a moment and answered honestly, he's my best brother. But not that kind of like. Then why claim to be his fiancé? Because, I looked out at the sky. Because I want to see him. After over a decade of brotherhood, I don't want to meet as strangers. Alice was silent for a while. Then she gently took my hand. Whoever you are, whatever lies you're telling, your big sister will always be on your side. My nose stung a little. On the way to the holy capital, we passed through the city of Baroon. At its center stood a giant statue of the sun god. As I walked by, the black ring on my finger suddenly grew hot. My detection ability activated on its own. Sunbreaker sword, a booming voice announced. Again, 3 questions. Exactly the same as the Creator God's interview. Need light. Save the world. Light equals justice. This time, I played it smart. I used Big Crab's answers. Excellent answers. Congratulations on becoming my new master. A fiery red ring latched onto the ring finger of my left hand. Alice laughed. Elena, That ring's on your left ring finger. How are you ever going to be a manly man now? At least you can call it your dowry for the holy son of light. A shiver ran down my spine. Left ring finger, the wedding ring finger. What did this mean? Dowry. What troubled me more was, on my left hand, the black ring of the dark demon sword. On my right hand, the red ring of the sunbreaker sword. One light, one dark. One righteous, one evil. They repelled each other and attracted each other, all at once. I sensed that the conflict between these two swords was bound to erupt sooner or later. In Baroon, I met a fortune teller. She looked very old, but her eyes shone like stars. Little girl, a person can only have their fortune told once. Are you sure? I'm sure. I placed both hands on the crystal ball and closed my eyes. Then I saw visions of the future. Alice in a white wedding dress, smiling like a flower. Big Crab was cheering, a drink in his hand. Cereal was also in a wedding dress, but she didn't look happy, struggling as if trying to run away. And the groom was me. Me. Dressed in a black groom's suit, I stepped out, looking a little shy. Never mind if the bride is reluctant. A wish made before the gods must be fulfilled. Hurry up with the ceremony. Big Crab shouted. You can't fulfill wishes like this. You too, Cereal started, but was quickly drowned out by louder cheers. Angel wife, you're not getting away. But what shocked me more was the next scene. 12 pairs of massive wings, emerald and white, spread open behind me. 12 pairs. Even Michael had only 6. I opened my eyes abruptly. The fortune teller was looking at me with a complicated expression. Little girl, your future. I cannot see it clearly. Why? Because there are too many possibilities in you. Light and dark, divine and demonic, male and female, all these contradictions coexist within you. Your future is not predetermined, it's whatever you choose. She paused, then added, but one thing I can say for certain, you will not be alone. Many people will love you. And you will love many people. I blinked, then smiled. That's enough. On the shopping street of Baroon, Alice took me to buy things. Elena, this is Lady Annabella, the Dean of the Royal Academy of Magic. I looked up, a woman in her 30s, wearing a deep blue mage's robe. Cold, beautiful, with sharp eyes. Hello, madam, I said politely. Boom! Lightning struck from the sky and smashed a nearby carriage to pieces. What did you call me? Annabella's face turned bright red. Madam. Boom! Another lightning strike. Alice quickly covered my mouth and whispered, Dean is nearly 40 and still unmarried. If anyone calls her madam or asks about her fortune-telling results, she goes berserk like this. Run! I bolted, thunder rolling behind me. Later I learned that Annabella's mortal wound was this: she had once had her fortune told about love. The result? You will never marry. Poor, tyrannical thunder. But I had a feeling this woman had a story. Her anger wasn't without cause, it was rooted in some deeper sorrow. One day, I would learn that story. Night fell. I was lost on a street corner in Baroon. Just as I hesitated about whether to ask for directions, a voice came from behind me. Excuse me, do you know where I can buy gifts? Also, I need to hire a carriage. I turned around. A blue-haired girl stood in the moonlight. She looked about 13 or 14, roughly my height. Her long blue hair fell to her waist, and her eyes were a deep, unfathomable violet. She wore simple traveling clothes and carried a small backpack. For some reason, the moment I saw her, my heart skipped a beat. I'm lost too, I admitted. Want to find the way together? She nodded. We walked side by side down the empty street. The moonlight stretched our shadows long and long. My name is Shivi, she said suddenly. I'm Elena. Then came a pause. But it wasn't awkward. That silence felt more like two people who had known each other for a long time and didn't need to fill every second with words. We passed a general store. The owner was about to close up. Wait. I ran over. Do you still have any silver daggers? The owner eyed me. I do, but they're expensive. You can't afford it. Want to make a bet? The owner's interest was piqued. What's the bet? If I can draw this bow, you give me one for free. The owner laughed heartily. Little girl, this bow is military grade. Even grown men can't draw it. I took the bow and took a deep breath. With physical ability 6, I truly couldn't draw it. But I had magic. I channeled magic into my arms. Creak. The bowstring slowly drew back. The owner's jaw nearly hit the floor. Deal. I wrapped up the silver dagger and handed it to Shivi. For you. Shiva froze. Why? Because, I thought about it. You look like someone who needs it. Shiva took the dagger and looked down at it for a long time. The moonlight spilled over her blue hair like a silvery frost. Thank you, she said, very softly. We kept walking. When we reached the door of my inn, I invited her upstairs. You're staying alone? She asked. Yes. She followed me up. The room had only one oil lamp, casting dim yellow light. I turned to pour her a cup of water. And froze. In the lamplight, Shiva stood before me. Behind her, there was no shadow. Blood ran cold. You? I'm half dark elf, Shiva said calmly, her violet eyes fixed on me. Are you scared? I took a deep breath and shook my head. No. Why? Because you haven't killed me. I smiled. If you wanted me dead, you could have done it already. For the first time, Shiva's expression changed, not surprise, but something I couldn't read. Then she suddenly stepped forward and wrapped her arms around my waist. Her face was very close to mine. Close enough to feel her breath. Answer me, she said, her voice low. When the world and your lover are both in danger, which will you save? That was the second question from the Creator God's interview. The correct answer is the world, I said. But I'd still save my lover. Why? Because if you can't even protect the one you love, what's the point of saving the world? Shiva's lips curled slightly. That was the first time I saw her smile. Then she let me go and stepped back. Leave? What? Leave here. Leave me. Her voice returned to calm, but there was something in her eyes I'd never seen before, fragility. I'm not a good person. People who get close to me end up unlucky. I didn't leave. I walked up to her and took her hand. I don't know what you've been through. I looked into her eyes. But I'm not afraid of bad luck. You? And I smiled. When you hugged me just now, your hand was shaking. A truly dangerous person doesn't shake. Shiva was silent for a long time. Then she gently pulled her hand back. You'll regret this. With those words, she turned and left the room. I didn't chase after her. Because I knew she'd come back. Sure enough, the next morning, I found her at the inn's entrance. I have nowhere to go, she said, expressionless. Take me in. I smiled. Welcome. Only later did I learn that the blue-haired girl in the moonlight was the Witch of Darkness, the mortal envoy of the demon realm. Only later did I also learn that when she had held me, she had meant to kill me. But she didn't. Because in my eyes, she saw something she had never seen before. Not fear. Not greed. Not exploitation. Just one person's pure, unguarded, goodwill toward another. That was the first time Shivi had ever gone soft on a person. And the last time she would ever go soft on an enemy. Because from that day on, she no longer considered me an enemy. After Shivi joined our group, everything was peaceful. Too peaceful. Peaceful enough to make me uneasy. Alice liked her. Asha was cautious but polite. Shivi spoke little, always trailing silently at the back of the group, her violet eyes observing everything around her. That night, we camped in the forest. The campfire crackled. Alice and Asha went to sleep first. Shivi and I sat by the fire, keeping watch. Shivi, I called softly. Why are you following me? She was silent for a moment. Because you're the first person who wasn't afraid of me. What else? Because when you offered me bread, you gave me the biggest piece. I blinked, then laughed. That was just because I wasn't hungry. You're lying. Shiva looked at me. You were hungry all that day. I saw. My mouth opened, but no words came out. Shiva looked down, poking at the campfire with a stick. No one has ever been that good to me before. Her voice was so soft it was almost drowned out by the wind. So I wanted to see if you were faking it. And now you know. Now I know. She looked up, and the firelight danced in her violet eyes. You weren't faking. You're just stupid. Hey. Shivi's lips twitched upward. That was the second time she smiled at me. But what I didn't know was that night, the dark elf pursuers had already reached the edge of the forest. Shivi's calm was just the calm before the storm. The next evening, the pursuers came. A dozen dark elves emerged from the shadows of the trees, their black cloaks fluttering in the wind. At the front stood a tall female elf with silver eyes, her cold gaze fixed on Shivi. Shivi, the chieftain wants you back. Shivi stood in front of me. I'm not going back. Then don't blame us for being unpleasant. Battle erupted in an instant. Asha drew her sword and fought. Alice cast defensive magic. But there were too many dark elves, and their magic was eerily unpredictable. Just then, Shiva's body began to change. She grew taller, from a girl of 13 or 14 into a graceful young woman of 17 or 18. Her blue hair grew even longer, and her violet eyes turned deep red. Witch of Darkness! Alice exclaimed. Shivi, now in her Witch of Darkness form, looked back at me. That look held too many things. Go, she said. I'm not leaving. Go? I said I'm not leaving. I ran to her side, pulled the silver dagger from my belt, and pressed it against my own chest. If you want to hurt her, you'll have to kill me first. Everyone froze. Elena! Alice cried out. One more step and I'll stab it in right now. The blade broke my skin. Blood seeped out. The dark elf pursuers stopped. They exchanged glances, unsure what to do. Shiva turned to look at me. For the first time, fear appeared in her deep red eyes. Are you insane? I'm not insane. I endured the pain and forced myself to smile. I told you, I wouldn't let you be alone. The 9th form of the Holy Maiden Combat Sutra, Crocodile Tears. I'd learned this move from crocodiles. When they eat their prey, they shed tears, not from sadness, but to lubricate their throats. I was bleeding real blood, with the same purpose, to soften the enemy's heart. But as Shiva watched my blood, her eyes turned red. That wasn't acting. That was the first time she had ever cried for anyone. Dark escape. A hexagonal magic circle lit up beneath our feet. Shivi and I were teleported away. We were teleported to the territory of the Dark Elves. Underground caves. Moonstones illuminated a vast palace. Everywhere we looked, blue-skinned dark elves watched us with cold stares. "Welcome back, Shivi." A dignified female voice cut through the silence. Shiva's mother, Vitara, queen of the dark elves, stepped out of the shadows. Her gaze fell on me, sharp as a blade. "This is the little girl who made you disobey my orders." "Mother, she's not." Silence. Vitara raised her hand, and several dark elf mags surrounded us. "Now that you're here, we follow the rules." "What rules?" I asked. Vitara looked at me coldly. "The soul wedding vow. If she wins, you're free. If you win, she stays forever." "Wait, what do you mean wins?" "The soul wedding vow will bind your souls together. The magic will reveal the truest nature of your relationship, who is the leader, and who is the follower." Before I could react, several mags pinned me down. "Shivi!" I shouted. But Shivi was held back by her mother. Her face was full of despair. "Mother, no. She's just a child. It's precisely because she's a child, pure in soul, that the magic will be most accurate." Vitara was expressionless. "Begin." A soul crystal ball was placed on the altar. A dozen druid mags began to chant. Blue light enveloped me. And then, I saw Shiva's memories. At 5 years old, she was bullied by the other elven children because of her half-human blood. At 8, her mother sent her to the demon realm, as a hostage to consolidate power. At 12, she killed for the first time a human merchant who tried to assault her. She slit his throat with a dagger hidden in her sleeve. At 14, she was sent back to the mortal world on missions. No one cared if she lived or died. Failure meant death. At 16, on a moonlit street, she met a golden-haired little girl. That little girl gave her a silver dagger, offered her the biggest piece of bread, and told her, "I'm not afraid of bad luck." That little girl was me. The crystal ball's light grew stronger and stronger. Then, the magic was complete. But the results shocked everyone. Shiva knelt on one knee before me, head bowed, like a knight swearing fealty to their king. "How is this possible?" Vitara's face turned pale. "Chieftain." "Because under the influence of the magic, her soul has developed the mistaken belief that she sees you as her wife and herself as your husband." "What?" "Correct this erroneous thinking immediately. Chieftain, this magic has absolutely no way to be undone." Vitara, in her fury, threw the mage across the room. Shiva looked up at me. Her deep red eyes were filled with complicated emotions. "You?" "I did nothing," I said truthfully. But I knew what had happened. Because the last image I had seen in the crystal ball wasn't magic, it was a memory of Shiva. When she was 6 years old, locked in a dark cell in the demon realm, she had cried alone for 3 days and 3 nights. In that darkness, she had made a vow, if anyone ever bled for her, she would never leave that person. And I had just bled for her. The magic had merely turned her vow into reality. "Wife," I called her. Shiva's face flushed crimson. "Don't call me wife." "Okay, wife. Just you wait." From that day on, Shiva, the Witch of Darkness, became my wife. Not a slave to magic. Not a forced contract. But her own chosen loyalty. In the dark elf territory, I discovered another secret. On Vitara's hand was a ring, the rejuvenation ring, capable of making someone appear 30% younger. "That's a good item," I said, eyes gleaming. "I'm not giving it to you," Vitara said coldly. "I didn't ask for it." But my eyes gave me away. Later I learned that the ring had a side effect: it suppressed the wearer's physical development. In other words, the reason I had remained in the body of an 11 or 12-year-old loli was because this ring had been stuck on my finger during the transmigration. "Take it off," And you'll return to normal, Shiva said. Return to normal. What would I look like? Your true body. About 15 or 16, as a girl. I thought for a moment. No. Why? Because, I smiled mysteriously. A lowly form makes people let their guard down. Shiva rolled her eyes. But she didn't know there was another reason. In the dark elf territory, I had met the dark elf princess Connie. Connie was about my age, but her future. I took a peek using my detection ability and nearly choked. G-cup. Really? It can really get bigger. Connie's eyes lit up. Of course. From that day on, I started teaching them body-shaping exercises, basically yoga. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this isn't easy, Connie grumbled as she exercised. But her eyes never stopped shining. Shiva watched from the side, expressionless. What scheme are you cooking up now? I'm just helping girls grow, I said with an innocent face. Pervert. I'm a loli now. I can't be perverted. Shiva didn't say anything, but her ears turned red. After leaving the dark elf territory, we passed through the underground dwarf lands. The dwarfs lived in huge underground caverns filled with anvils and forges. But the atmosphere was wrong, the dwarfs looked grim, the streets were empty, and even the sounds of hammering had stopped. What's going on? I asked a passing dwarf. The dwarf sighed. The Holy Capital's Crusaders and the Slavers' Union have launched a joint attack. The 5-match death war is at 1-2. 5-match death war. Each side sends fighters for one-on-one duels, best of 5. The loser is treated as if they lost a full-scale war, everyone at the victor's mercy. What's the score now? 1-2. If we lose one more match, the entire dwarf race will be enslaved. I followed the dwarf to the battlefield. On the stage, the dwarf champion was fighting a human magic swordsman. The swordsman's name was Sinatan, blonde hair, blue eyes, undeniably handsome. But he was cheating. He was using mental magic to interfere with the dwarf's judgment. Bang! The dwarf champion was kicked off the stage. 2-2, the Holy Capital Crusaders cheered. Wait, 2-2. I thought it was 1-2. We lost the third match. It's 2-2 now, Shiva murmured. Next round, Shiva took the stage. But she was still wearing the rejuvenation ring, which greatly reduced her abilities. The magic swordsman kicked her off the stage. 3-2. The Holy Capital Crusaders win. Despair fell over the dwarfs. Wait, a voice called out. Silence. It was me. I stepped out from the crowd, spinning a silver flute in my hand. I, Elena Fierce, the new queen of the vampire clan, hereby overturn the results of this 5-match death war, and save the underground dwarfs from their fate. You're just a little girl. The 5 matches are already finished. Who says you can just demand a rematch? I put the flute to my lips and played, watching the rising tide. As the melody floated through the air, the luminous ore in the walls dimmed, and sparkling specks of light drifted through the air. Dead silence. Because, I lowered the flute, the 2 matches you won were won through cheating. Do you have any proof? I am the proof. I pointed at Sinatan. Traces of mental magic still linger on him. Shall we have the dwarf shaman inspect him? Sinatan's face changed. The Holy Capital Crusaders commander gritted his teeth. Fine. A rematch. 5 matches. You alone. No problem. First match, against Sinatan. Sinatan stepped onto the stage, and gave me what he thought was a charming smile. Little sister, I don't want to hurt you. Surrender. I smiled back. Uncle, I don't want to hurt you either. You surrender. Sinatan's face twitched. He drew his holy sword and took a stance. Then he tried a honey trap on me. Smiling, approaching, reaching to pull me up. I returned with a honey trap of my own. As he reached to steady me, I accidentally stumbled, falling toward him. He caught me, and I promptly drew the knight's sword from his belt and held it to his neck. I give up. Sinatan turned pale. That doesn't count. How can you use a honey trap? Cheating. The crowd erupted in protest. Oh? Since so many people object, let's not count this round. We'll fight fair and square, I said cheerfully. This knight's sword belongs to Sinatan, so I should return it. But that would leave me without a blade. How shall I fight? I'll fight you empty-handed, Sinatan said confidently. This sword is indeed very good. I wonder if it's sturdy. Crack. I used the soul-devouring sword to cut his holy sword in half. The whole crowd was stunned. How can you destroy a consecrated holy sword? Don't you understand? Probably only the strongest here could even see what I did. You're still far behind. Then I cast mental magic on Sinatan, the same magic he had cheated with earlier, reflected back at him. Fetch! I threw the sword pommel far away. Yes, sir. Sinatan obediently ran to fetch it and knelt on one knee to offer it back. Good doggy Tilda, go back and I'll give you a big bone. The entire crowd face-planted. First match, win. Second match, the sage Jebus Hugh. He was Sinatan's teacher, cunning and sly. While my guard was down, he struck my chest with the moon god's bow. The blue arrow stuck in my chest, but I didn't bleed. It didn't hurt either. He, do I look like I'm playing dead? I cheerfully pulled out the arrow. How is this possible? Can the vampire clan survive an arrow to the heart? Moon god's bow. Come. The moon god's bow recognized me as its master, and a sapphire blue ring latched onto the little finger of my right hand. Oh my goodness. How? It's okay, there's no way a little girl like you can draw such a heavy bow. Jebus said with a stiff smile. I drew the bow to full tension and aimed it at him. Oh, why do I suddenly feel like getting revenge for that arrow? Elena! Don't shoot! Annabella shouted from the audience. All right, let's talk. If you admit defeat, Jebus, I'll lift the mental magic on your student Sinatan. You? Little yellow Tilda, my little puppy, if he refuses, go bite his butt. Woof. Sinatan crouched down and showed his teeth at Jebus. Fine. I surrender. Second match, win. Third match, Annabella. Tyrannical Thunder stepped onto the stage, lightning dancing at her fingertips. She was no joke. But I knew her Achilles heel. Annabella. Kneel. What? Annabella Bather. Surely you have already recognized my noble status. Do I need to reveal my true form? I said, kneel. Her face paled. Not from fear, but because she recognized the aura on me. It was the aura of the Creator God. She knelt before me on one knee. The crowd was stunned. Third match, win. Fourth match, the white elf princess, Judy. Thinking I was undead, she attacked me with sacred magic. O sacred light, heed the prayer of your faithful and purify all darkness, holy light shower. A beam of white light enveloped me. That feels nice. Thank you, Judy. How? That was high-level sacred magic, amplified by my holy earrings. It should work. A dozen sacred spells, one after another, all had no effect. Judy, exhausted, bent over. Had enough. Need a rest. I surrender. Fourth match, win. Fifth match, the Holy Son of Light, Big Crab. Big Crab stepped onto the stage, looking at me with complicated eyes. "Brother," he whispered. "Skip the talk. Fight." "I don't want to." "You have to." Big Crab took a deep breath. "Come forth, my contract beast. Release from my body, the blue-eyed moon wolf." A dark blue wolf over 6 feet, 2 meters, long appeared on the stage. "That's a contract beast. Incredible. The only one on the continent who has one is the Pope." I took a deep breath and summoned the immortal bird and the hell dragon. The giant immortal bird stretched its 5-meter wings. The 7 to 8 meter hell dragon beat its black, leathery wings. Silence fell over the crowd. Some even collapsed to the ground. Blade form. Big Crab's contract wolf transformed into a sword. I smiled and turned the immortal bird into a sword of light in my hand. You lose," I said with a grin. Big Crab was silent for 3 seconds. Then he smiled. "I lose." He lowered his sword, walked over to me, and extended his hand. I took it. "Brother," he whispered, "you're way stronger than I imagined." "No kidding." But his voice dropped even lower. "Someone's watching you. Be careful." Then he said aloud, "I give up. 5 straight wins. 5th match, win. 5 wins." Only later did I learn that Big Crab hadn't gone all out in that match. He had lost to me on purpose. Not to throw the match, but because from the audience, he had sensed the dark demon sword's energy on me. He knew that if I lost, the demon sword might go out of control. So he lost. For his brother. Everyone stepped down from the stage. "I'll show everyone my true form now." I played the holy chant Requiem, using a wind crystal to slowly float into the air. Then I spread my wings. 1 pair. 2 pairs. 3 pairs. Emerald. White. Silver. 14 pairs. 28 wings, unfurled in the sky like a giant flower. Hallelujah tilde for the Lord our God, the Almighty, reigns tilde. Nearly 1,000 people dropped to their knees involuntarily, tears streaming down their moved faces. Michael had 6 pairs of wings. Lucifer had 7. And I had 14. I was neither the Holy Son of Light nor the Witch of Darkness. I was the daughter of the Creator God. But only I knew that those 14 pairs of wings were not glory. They were chains. A weapon that both the divine realm and the demon realm wanted. And I was just a substitute holy maiden, who didn't want to be controlled by anyone. News of the 5 straight wins spread across the continent. Daughter of the Creator God, holy maiden with 14 pairs of wings, savior of the dwarfs, my titles grew more and more extravagant. But beneath those titles lay a truth I hadn't yet figured out. Why did I have 14 pairs of wings? Why could I devour a demonic artifact? Why were my answers during the Creator God's interview exactly the same as Lucifer's? The answer lay in the sealed land of Becid. It was a wasteland shrouded in black mist. Shiva brought me there, saying it was the border between the demon realm and the mortal world. To summon the demon king, a sacrifice is needed, Shiva said. What sacrifice? You? Say that again. Shiva was expressionless. Your blood. Your soul imprint. You're the only one who can open the passage. Before I could protest, a pentagram lit up beneath my feet. The black mist surged, and a figure emerged from it. A suit, white shirt, gold tie, black coat. And a face I had known for 18 years. Hey there, sweetheart. You're here too. My Yakuza father. Lucifer, king of the demon realm. My mind went blank. 18 years ago, in your original world, I had a daughter with a woman. Lucifer lit a cigarette and said slowly. Then I placed you next to Big Crab, and modified your body to make it demonic. So I'm not a transmigrator. You are. But you're also my daughter. Those two things aren't contradictions. Then what about my mother? Lucifer flicked his ash. She's in the divine realm. What? Your mother is an angel. Gabriel's younger sister. That's why she could take such good care of your body. My brain was completely fried. The divine realm and the demon realm were mortal enemies. Their king had fathered a child with an angel from the opposing side. That child was me. So sending me to the other world wasn't for fun. I took a deep breath. It was to make me a pawn. Lucifer smiled. Sweetheart, you're smarter than your mother. My identity in the divine realm is the Creator God's daughter. In the demon realm, I'm your daughter. I looked into his eyes. Both sides want to use me, don't they? Yes. Then why should I listen to you? Lucifer was silent for 3 seconds. Then he stubbed out his cigarette and looked at me seriously. Because I won't force you. What? The divine realm will force you to be an angel. But the demon realm, he spread his hands, you can choose not to be the demon king. You can even choose to betray me. That's something your mother taught me, free will matters more than anything. I looked at his face. There was no scheme in it. No calculation. Only a father's eyes looking at his daughter. According to intelligence from our informant, your body has been well taken care of. The lady from the divine realm, after being reincarnated in this world, was very weak, and then you used soul wedding magic across dimensions, and made her fall for you. Wait, are you talking about Serial? Yes. Your angel wife already belongs to you. My face turned red. Sweetheart, your mission is to be crowned in Rhea and to participate in the next Moonless Night's Demon Envoy selection. What if I don't? Then don't. Lucifer smiled. I told you, I won't force you. The black mist slowly faded. Wait. I called after him. That person named Goldie outside kidnapped me and brought me here. Dad, you've got to help me with that. Lucifer waved his hand. Bardiel has already been teleported away. But don't worry, she'll be back. Who is Bardiel? Your assassin wife. What did you say? But Lucifer had already vanished. Only his words lingered in the wind. Remember, sweetheart, you don't need to be who anyone else wants you to be. You only need to be yourself. In that moment, I finally understood. I was not the divine realm's weapon. Nor the demon realm's pawn. I was Andre Miller. And I was Elena Fierce. My choice was to belong to no one. After leaving Beached, we came to the Crystal Lake. The lake was so clear it looked like a giant mirror. In the center stood a figure, long golden hair, ocean blue eyes, 16 or 17 years old. Serial. The angel wife I had wished for before transmigrating. Elena, she said, her expression complicated. Serial. You shouldn't have come here. Why? Because Gabriel placed a seal here. Serial's voice trembled. She wants to seal you. No sooner had she spoken than the lake began to freeze. Ice crystals spread from all directions, climbing up my ankles, my knees. She, 6? I shouted with all my strength. Elena. Shiva's voice came from afar. But it was too far. The ice had already reached my waist. I'm sorry. Serial was crying. I can't resist her. You don't need to resist her. I looked at her. You just need to trust me. What? Do you trust me? Serial froze. You met me only a few days ago. I smiled. But when you said, you shouldn't have come here, you were worried about me, weren't you? Serial didn't answer. But her tears flowed even harder. You do trust me, I said. That's enough. The ice reached my neck. Then, boom! A red light flashed. The ice shattered. Shiva stood on the lake shore, moon god's bow in hand, her violet eyes blazing with fury. Who dares to touch my wife? Serial looked at Shiva, then at me. Shock was written across her face. You already have a wife. It's complicated. I'm not listening. Serial covered her ears. But the corners of her mouth curled upward slightly. Only later did I learn that Serial had never intended to seal me. She had only wanted to test me, to see if I was worth betraying the divine realm for. And my answer was trust. In her 1,000 years of life in the divine realm, no one had ever truly trusted her. I was the first. Pope Barn, the reincarnation of the Archangel Sataniel, asked me to open Pandora's box. Inside is sealed the future, he said. Only you can open it. I took a deep breath and opened the box. First vision. Shiva was pierced by a sword, a self wielding the soul-devouring sword. Blood stained her blue hair. No! I screamed. But the vision vanished. Second vision. Wedding night. Shiva and Serial, in wedding gowns, in the kitchen, making bread dough. What is this? Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Pope Barn coughed awkwardly. Third vision. I traveled into the future. A little golden-haired, blue-eyed girl ran toward me, chanting sweetly, Auntie. Auntie. Who are you? I'm Ivy, your future daughter. Daughter? With whom? From whom? But the little girl had already started reciting. First line, the Archangel will turn magic into martial power. Second line, the Sev race was created by the seraphim in their own image. Third line, better to offend Serial of light than to anger Serial of darkness. Because when she decides to kill, you are already dead. And then the vision vanished. I stood there, stunned. A daughter? With whom? From whom? Shiva's. Serial's. Or? I didn't dare think further. But one thing was certain, my future had not yet been written in stone. What Pandora's box showed was possibilities, not inevitabilities. The Shiva who was pierced, I could save her. The wedding night donating, okay, that one I didn't need to save. As for the daughter, I'd crossed that bridge when I came to it. News came from the kingdom of Rhea, the Earth Emperor Antares was coming to take the princess. Kingdom of Rhea, I, Antares, on the night of the full moon, shall come to taste the princess. The old king was panicked. Shiva volunteered. How dare he try to take my wife, I'll kill him. Wait, your wife, who are you talking about? Shiva looked at me. Never mind. The dragon-slaying plan began. Meanwhile, in the royal palace, I met 4 princesses. Me, Elena fierce, golden hair. Bardiel, my assassin wife, returned from spatial distortion, silver hair. Zetsvui, princess of the sacred empire, emerald green hair, destined to become the evening gown beauty. Sharon, princess of the snow kingdom, snowy white hair, the most beautiful woman on the continent. The 4 of us stood together, our hair colors exactly matching the 4 gems on the black snowflake ornament. This represents the 4 princesses of the 4 kingdoms. Zetsvui said. It's likely the key to the second seal of Becad. Never mind the seal for now. I looked out the window. The Earth Dragon is coming. The Alchemy Institute had developed a humanoid combat mech, the Hikaru. Only pure maidens could pilot it. Shiva became the Hikaru's pilot, with a synchronization rate of 97%. Let Elena come watch the fun. Shiva piloted the Hikaru right into the heart of Rhea, scaring the city guards half to death. "That's our mech," I shouted at the city guard. "Not an enemy. But it's crashing into walls." "Shivi. Walk properly." The Hikaru's footsteps shook the ground. I knew then, Antares the Earth Dragon, you're done for. Night of the full moon. The earth trembled. The sky darkened. Antares arrived. His body was a mountain. His scales were armor. His eyes were two lanterns. "Where is the princess?" His voice was thunder. Shiva charged in with the Hikaru. "How dare you try to take my wife, I'll kill you." The Hikaru's fists smashed into Antares' face, but the earth dragon's scales were too hard, only sparks flew. "Dragonich powder, launch," I ordered. Dozens of bags of dragonich powder exploded in the air. The earth dragon began scratching frantically. "Dragon Killer 3000, fire." Countless grappling hooks shot toward the dragon's wings, pinning them to the ground. But it wasn't enough. Antares struggled to his feet and swung his tail, sending the Hikaru flying. "Shivi." I jumped out of hiding and spread my 14 pairs of wings. Serial of darkness, awaken. Silver light surged from my body. The moon god's bow in my hand blazed with white flame. "This arrow is for my wives." The arrow streaked across the night sky like a shooting star. Antares opened his huge mouth and breathed hellfire. Fire and light collided in midair. The earth trembled. The sky burned. Then, silence. Antares fell. A silver arrow was embedded in his chest, piercing from heart to back. How can this be? The earth dragon's eyes slowly went dim. A little girl, how could she? I'm not a little girl. I stood on his head, looking down at the once unbeatable tyrant. I'm the substitute holy maiden. Antares closed his eyes. The crowd erupted in cheers. Shiva crawled out of the Hikaru and stumbled toward me. "Elena." She held me tightly. "You scared me." "I'm fine. If you do that again, I'll." "You'll what?" Shiva looked up. Her violet eyes were full of tears. "I'll never speak to you again." I smiled. "Okay, wife. Just you wait." Epilogue: The substitute holy maiden's victory. The sun was setting. I stood on the walls of Rhea, surrounded by Shivi, Alice, Asher, Bardiel, Connie, Sharon, Zetsvui, and Serial. "My wives," I said. "Who's your wife?" at least 5 voices said at once. I laughed. "I'm the substitute holy maiden." I looked toward the distant sky. No one expected me to succeed. Not the Creator God. Not my demon king father. Not even myself. But look, the earth dragon is dead. The dwarfs are free. The 4 princesses stand on the same side. I did it. Shiva took my hand. "You're not a substitute," she said. "You're the only one." I turned to look at her. The setting sun dyed her blue hair gold. "Thank you, Shivi." "For what?" "For not killing me that night." Shivi's lips curled upward. "I could still do it now." "You wouldn't." "Shut up." Behind us, Alice laughed. Asher wore a rare smile. Serial pretended to be angry, but her ears were red. Connie was secretly doing yoga. Sharon was fixing her hair. Zetsvui was tuning a piano. This was my world. Not given to me by the divine realm. Not given to me by the demon realm. It was mine, won by a substitute holy maiden. As for the future, there were still too many secrets in Pandora's box. Serial's dark side. The demon envoy selection. That daughter who called me auntie. Those could wait for another day. For now. Wives, let's go home. We are not your wives. Her laughter echoed against the sunset sky.